nights. I think we have done it all. She knows me in and out, love of a different kind, but we still have no control. 'Cause when the daylight comes, we're just good.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is all about winter luxury and what's worth it and what's not. I always feel like when it comes to slightly more seasonal luxury, it's a little bit more tricky to navigate just because you're not guaranteed that kind of cost per wear if you can't wear them all year round. So I thought I'd go over the items which I already own in my wardrobe, really kind of going over the pieces which I 100% think are worth a splurge, as well as those items where I definitely think you could save on. So I hope you guys enjoy this and let's get started. This video does continue on my collaboration with My Teresa, who I have worked with so many times before and are still my go-to place for all things luxury. Everything from investment clothing pieces to beautiful bags and shoes. Like, their edit is just so amazing. The packaging is always beautiful and it's just such an amazing shopping experience. And everything that I'm featuring here today is available from myteresa.com. So I will include links to everything in the description section if you did want to check anything out. So first up is the puffer jacket, and these are popular for a reason. You know, they are so practical and functional and really are just the toastiest things, and if you buy right they should last you for decades. So I'm a big believer that a great puffer jacket is 100% worth a splurge. I have two of my favorites right here, as well as one that I didn't quite get along with as much. So all of these are from Canada Goose. I'm a huge fan of the brand. Their jackets are so warm and so well made, and I absolutely just think it's worth the investment to really go for something that you're going to wear all the time. I mentioned this in my gift guide, but they're one of my go-to gifts for kind of very close loved ones, because it is something that they'll be able to wear pretty much every single day in winter. So you're definitely getting that cost per wear down and really kind of getting value for money, even though they are more of a splurge in terms of the price tag. I love mine though. So this one that I have here is a new one that I got this year and I love it. It is very, very warm, and what I think is so fantastic about these is that they are incredibly toasty, but they're also very, very lightweight. So it doesn't feel like you're being weighed down with a ton of material. They're very, very light, but you're not sacrificing anything in terms of the warmth, which is why I think they are so, so great. And then I also have my black one here as well, and I think I've had this one for going on 3 years. It's been quite a while and I still absolutely love it, and it still looks like the day I got it pretty much. Like, it's done very, very well. This one is definitely a little bit thinner than my grey one, just a little bit more lightweight and not as much padding. It is still incredibly warm though, and it's also very, very functional because you have the hood, and it's just a very nice everyday piece. I gifted this one to my mum a couple of years ago as well, and I'd say it's pretty much her most worn jacket. She wears it all the time and she absolutely loves it. And this is just one of those pieces that is going to last you decades, and I love the fact that even though they are a puffer jacket, the fit isn't so bulky that they're just completely unflattering. You know, certainly the ones that I have, they are a little bit nipped in at the waist and they just give you a little bit more of a silhouette than other styles I've tried. So I love them for that. You know, it's never going to be as sleek as a tailored coat, but in terms of what it is, I do think these are really chic and very, very functional as well. That said, one area where I don't think it's worth it to splurge is anything that overly resembles ski wear, and that is absolutely a mistake I made with this Canada Goose coat. I got this last year and I was really excited about it. You know, I'm a fan of the brand. I absolutely loved my black one to bits. But this one is just a little bit too bright, and it just kind of reminds me a little bit too much of a full-on skiing outfit, or otherwise potentially a stormtrooper. Not something I thought about when I first got it. I love the look of it, and I thought it was such a nice kind of refreshing addition to my winter wardrobe. You know, winter is so gloomy and I love my winter whites. I have a few white bags which I wear all the time in winter, so I just thought this was a really natural addition to my wardrobe. But anytime I go to put it on, I almost always switch into something darker, just because it does feel a little bit too much of a pop of colour, even though it is white. It just doesn't feel that practical to me, and again, it feels like I'm getting ready to go skiing or possibly a Star Wars invasion. So for me, this was definitely a miss. I am always going to stick to darker colours now. My new grey one isn't super, super dark, but I'd say that's probably as light as I'm willing to go now. I'm definitely staying away from anything overly white in terms of a puffer jacket. I do think it's a little bit different when it comes to kind of tailored coats or even a crop jacket. I have a faux fur one from Abercrombie which I love, but in terms of anything that is this puffy and this long, I definitely think I'm better off going for a darker colour. And my next one where I think you could save versus splurge are gloves versus a hat. So for me, gloves are very much in the realms of an area where you can save versus a hat where if you did want to spend a bit of extra money, I think it's a much more sound investment than going for something like a pair of gloves. So a hat for me, you know, I don't wear them all the time, but when I do wear them, I'm always very, very grateful for them. I'm happy to spend a bit more because it is something which styles don't really change, you know, trends don't really come and go too much in terms of winter hats. They do just kind of stay very consistent, and you'll be able to wear the same one year after year if you do take care of it. And while that's true with gloves as well, you know, glove trends don't really kind of come and go in too crazy a way. I would say because of the wear and tear that gloves typically see, I would much rather save my money on gloves and invest in a nice hat or a nice scarf, just because it's almost impossible to make sure that they stay pristine, at least for me and how I use them. You know, I really only tend to wear gloves when it's very, very cold, often when it's snowing, so any surfaces I touch, you know, they often get very dirty. You're dealing with snow, you're outside in the elements, and it's just very, very difficult to make sure that your gloves stay in beautiful condition. And if you're spending £300–400 on a designer pair, I just personally wouldn't get the enjoyment out of them. And I also think it's very possible to get a really beautiful leather pair if that's what you wanted without breaking the bank. These ones I think I got from an outlet somewhere. I think I probably paid maybe £30–40 for them. They've done very well, are exactly what I need, and they have the quality without breaking the bank and without making me super, super stressed about ruining a really expensive luxury item. So for that reason, wear and tear and just how I use my gloves functionally, I would much rather save here and splurge on other areas. Next up is the wrap coat, and this is another absolute wardrobe classic. I don't think you can go wrong with something like this, and if you did want to invest your money in a really beautiful quality one, I do think it is something that you'll be able to have in your wardrobe for decades if you take care of it. This one is from S. Max Mara, and they are always a go-to for me for winter coats. The quality of their fabric is just beautiful, and the fits are always so lovely, and it is genuinely a beautifully made coat, which I do think is worth the money, even though they are very, very expensive. I've mentioned this before, but S. Max Mara is definitely a lot cheaper than the general Max Mara line, and for me the quality is very, very similar. I've not owned a proper Max Mara coat before, but I have seen them in store, felt the fabric, and they are stunning. But the S. Max Mara ones, while definitely not cheap, are still very, very nice quality, and you do get all that beautiful tailoring and the fabric as well. This one is in the dark navy, and what I particularly love about it is the slimmer cut, and that's both in the body and in the sleeve. Sleeve width is something that I go on about all the time, but I do think it's so crucial when assessing a coat and how elegant it's going to look. Generally speaking, a slimmer sleeve will be much more flattering and wearable, and it will just really help to create that very beautiful, very streamlined silhouette. This is in contrast to slightly more oversized fits, and this is another coat that I have from S. Max Mara. This is actually the first one that I ever got, and now that I have my other coat, I realise how much I prefer it to the fit of this one. This one is definitely a little bit more oversized, and it has a much wider sleeve, and it's just generally wider in the body as well, and for that reason it just makes it so much harder to create a really flattering look, even if you pair it with really slimline bottoms. And this is definitely going to come down to personal preference, because I know some people will always prefer an oversized look. For me, I always find fitted items just that little bit more flattering, so my preference is definitely to go for a slimmer silhouette, but I would definitely assess that before looking at investing in any serious outerwear pieces. Really get to know your style and determine whether you do like that oversized look, or if you like something a little bit more fitted. As I said, for me it's 100% fitted, so since owning my slimmer cut one, I've not really touched this one, and it's really made me realize how much I enjoy that silhouette. So definitely something to consider. They're both, you know, beautiful quality, both from the S. Max Mara line, but the difference in the width of both the body and the sleeve can make a massive difference in terms of how much you're going to enjoy it and how often you're going to reach for it. Next up are two items which I don't actually think are necessarily specifically winter luxury, but these are very much items which, to be honest, I would recommend all year round, and items which you can definitely enjoy in winter but can transition also very easily to summer as well, which is the best kind of luxury in my opinion. So first up, a good belt. I've spoken before about how underrated I think belts are in people's wardrobes. I just think they're so useful, and even if you're dressed in very, very inexpensive clothing, I think something like this can really pull together a look and really elevate it in ways that not many other accessories can. So I'm a huge fan of belts, especially at a lower price point as well. You know, a luxury bag definitely also has the ability to elevate an outfit, but you're often looking at what, 1 to 2, maybe even £3,000, whereas a belt will typically run a lot lower than that. So definitely always a favorite for me, and I've worn this with everything from, you know, just a skirt and a simple top. You can do a pleated skirt, you can pop it over separates as well to make it look like a dress, and you can also obviously pop it over a dress as well. You can also team this with a coat. Like, the styling opportunities are really endless, and again, that goes from winter right through to summer as well. So for me, this is really kind of timeless luxury that you will be able to get so much use out of, and they are just endlessly versatile with so many different styling opportunities. And my next pick, which I do think are good all year round, are a great pair of pumps, and these are my new ones from Gianvito Rossi, and I absolutely love them. So I have these ones now in both the stiletto version in the 85mm as well as the block heel version, and I absolutely love them. It is such a classic design, you know, they're very, very flattering on the foot. I would say that the block heel version is probably a little bit more practical in winter, just because they're a little bit more stable, and if you are dealing with the elements, that's always a good thing. I would definitely recommend to spray these with Scotchgard or some other protectant though if you can. Suede is obviously a little bit more susceptible to the elements, so you're gonna want to take care of it, but as long as you do that, I do enjoy my suede heels all year round. They are incredibly comfortable because they do just mold your foot, and the block heel makes them very, very manageable as well. So definitely a favorite pick, and again, one that's good in winter, but that you can also enjoy all year long. My next pick is the Burberry scarf, and it's no secret how much of a fan of the Burberry scarf I am. I got my first one, which is the kind of classic checked one. I think I got it 4, maybe 5 years ago. It's still in absolutely fantastic condition, and this is something that I genuinely look forward to wearing all year round. And it's such an easy styling hack, I feel, you know, you can just pop this over literally anything and it immediately elevates the look, much like the belt, but obviously a little bit more winter specific. But because often in winter all you see is your outerwear, this just really packs a punch. You know, you can have a really inexpensive coat on, you can do separates, just pop this on and it's immediately going to make the whole outfit look so much more elevated, and they come in like every possible color combination as well. So I do have my classic camel one right here. I always get asked which one this is exactly. This one is the giant check one, so whenever you're looking at the actual names, if you look for the giant check, this is the one that this is. I think it just helps make the pattern a little bit less in your face. Sometimes the smaller the pattern, the more busy it can seem, so I do think that the giant check kind of helps balance things out. I also have my pale pink one here as well. A really nice option if you did like your pink colours, wanted that kind of classic Burberry look, but you wanted something just a little bit softer. It's a really, really pretty one. The fabric is just so beautiful. These are 100% cashmere. They are so incredibly soft, and they're just the most beautiful things, and again, something that you will be able to have in your wardrobe for years and years, if not decades. They don't change the design of these, so it really is a great wardrobe investment piece, and I just love mine to bits and continue to get so much enjoyment out of them. And then finally, I had to include a bag pick, and I thought very carefully about which more winter ready style to include. And for me, my absolute favorite this winter is the Saint Laurent boucle bag. I have been enjoying this so much, and it's definitely more of a winter ready style. I'm not sure I'm going to get much use out of this during summer, but I love it. You know, it goes really beautiful with all kinds of colder weather outfits. I also love the fact that it's not really high maintenance either. You know, because of the more textured finish, I'm not really noticing if I get any marks or snags on it. You know, it is fairly robust in that way. I've used it a ton over the past month and it still looks absolutely fantastic. I love the fact that it can be used during the day, but it's also dressy enough to go into evening as well. And it's just one of those designs which, again, I don't think it's going to date. You know, tweed or boucle bags have been around for many, many years now, and I do think there is a very, very classic look about it. That said, I would very much contrast that with anything that's overly festive in terms of the colour or overly delicate in terms of the material. So here I'm very specifically thinking of my adorable little toy puffer. I love this style of bag. I think it's really great, but I mentioned this before, I definitely wish I'd gotten it in more of a neutral colour. I really enjoy it during this time of year, but whereas my boucle bag I feel like looks good even in autumn, you know, it looks really great as soon as the weather begins to turn. I feel like this, because it's in this really pretty shade of red, is a little bit more festive, and so I really only use it during the month of December and maybe January. So even though I'm fine with more seasonal luxury, I do still like to extend the life of my items as much as I can in terms of how many months I'm happy to wear them, and anything that's overly festive I just tend not to reach for as much. Similarly, anything that's overly delicate, and here I'm thinking more specifically of my suede Saint Laurent bag. I love the look of this and I think it's so gorgeous, but because of how delicate it is, it definitely does dissuade me from using it as much as I otherwise would. Whereas my black boucle one, it feels very robust and I don't have to baby it. It does rain a lot where we live, and so anytime it's raining, I'm just going to avoid taking my suede Saint Laurent bag out just because I don't want it to get damaged. You know, it was very expensive and I definitely take precautions and I still spray it, but a suede bag with that much suede material is always going to be susceptible to damage, especially if the weather is bad as well. So for me, a more kind of robust investment choice for your winter wardrobe would always be something that is a little bit more hard wearing but still has that beautiful kind of luxurious quality, versus anything that is either overly festive in colour or overly delicate in terms of the material. So that is it for this video, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section below if you agree or disagree with any of my assessments. As always, I will include links to everything I featured in the description section. If you enjoyed the video, please do give us a thumbs up. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next one. Bye, guys.